name is Wim Stoop. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Jive here in EMEA. If we were a band, I would be the European member. Unlike the announcement, I'm not Adam Mertz, although we have a very similar hairstyle. So if you ever see him, he looks like me.
Yeah, the question to you and formerly to Adam Mertz was a little bit talking about what's the future about the mobile and cloud challenges for social. And this is what you will be addressing with the title, How Companies Are Winning with Disruptive Social Technology.
Absolutely, thank you.
Wim.
All right, so within Jive, we're a software. Who knows Jive? Show of hands. Yeah, a couple of people know Jive? Okay, Jive provides a collaboration and communication platform. That's what we do. And we started the firm in 2001. And we started with two beliefs, two very firm beliefs that we have. First of all, work right now, the way that most organizations and most people do it, is kind of boring. It doesn't really work well. And we can make it more fun without any compromise to efficiency, productivity, and benefit. And secondly, if you're thinking about how organizations have been deploying technologies, how they've been working, they've been very focused on automation, systems. And if we engage with our customers, with our partners, with our prospects, with our employees, we need to think more around the person. And I think with that, with Jive, we're actually a social platform from the ground up. We're not a bolt-on social afterthought. So the analysts also recognize that as Jive being different. If you look at the various matrices that they have, Jive is recognized as a leader in all of those. Our customers think they see something in Jive as well, and they're very successful with it. The challenge of collaboration and communication is not something that is solely in one particular industry. Now, everyone has those problems. It's also not very limited to size. From a very small organization, you still have customers, you still have prospects, you still need to interact with them. You can do that through Jive. You'll recognize a lot of these logos that you see. And if you look at the analysts, McKinsey's social economy report, it was already mentioned a couple of times. The market is very clear. The challenges that we have, the 28 hours of wasted effort that people have to just find information, have meetings, try and get their work done, has been very clearly identified. And you can have benefits. There is about 20 to 25% productivity that you can win for knowledge workers. But what really got me thinking about this is when they translated it into opportunity. $900 billion to $1.3 trillion on an annual basis. That's a shed load of money. That's incredible. We can do something with that. So really where organizations want to go, they're currently very much in these cubicles. You want to break out of those cubicles. You want to move into this area for the view. It's on the right for you, for me on the left. That seems fun. That's very people-centered. That's where real innovation can take place. That's where people will come to work and do it with a lot of enjoyment. But trying to break out of those cubicles, that's not really easy. Because as Gartner also said, 2013, if you're looking at deploying these social technologies in organizations, it's going to be a while before you see any benefit from it. And Wall Street Journal, All Things D, they identified that in 2013, social technology was the most overhyped technology that they came across. So why is that? Well, because there is so many of this social technology around. Anyone that's anything in this day and age has put the moniker or the name, the word social in the technology and capabilities that they provide. So how do you distinguish one brand of liking or sharing of blogging from another brand? It's still blogging. How do you make sense of that? It's not that surprising that there is so much confusion, because if you look at the Gartner hype cycle, we're only just coming out of that trough of disillusionment. Enlightenment and productivity is looming at the horizon, but we're not quite there yet, and that's why we're so confused. So just to paint a picture, let me take you back to something that's very analogous. Right now, we are working with technology. Technology is coming to us, but it wasn't always like that. You used to start with these very big computers that were very scarce. And when you were a business, you took your most difficult problem, you went to one of these buildings that was purpose-built to house one of these computers to get some computer time, to get some time on the mainframe. You went there, you collected your output, you went back to your office, and that's where you analyze it. So you really changed the way that you were working, and that was driven by the scarcity of that computing power. But then thankfully, when color was invented, we actually got to desktops, a marvel of engineering, a miniaturization of this massive thing that took up a whole building into something that now could actually be placed on a desktop. And it was on the desktop. And it was connected with so many wires, it couldn't move. But really the thing that I like most about this photo is that you have a computer next to a typewriter. So they've not quite gotten the new way of working that computer introduced. You no longer need to go to a building to get your computer time. You can do it on your desk. Because it's very difficult to get out of habits. That's why a typewriter and an inbox and a roller desk and a stapler are still on that same desktop next to the computer. Because the way that things worked changed. There's a cable running to the wall. That's the modem cable. So at the time, we started to use email. We used to go online, download our email, and then have a binge of collaboration and communication, and then we shut everything off and then we went home, along with everyone else. Fast forward a little bit. Now, we have a very different way of working. Now, we carry processing power equivalent to these supercomputers. We carry that around. Just with a show of hands, who's got a mobile device? An Apple, an iPhone, anything? Right? Keep your hand up. No, keep your hand up, come on. Keep your hand up if you have more than one, if you have two. If you have 3, 4. We never got to 4. Even when I do this in anywhere else, it's like it doesn't really get to 4. So, right? And if Samsung and if Google have their way, we'll be wearing computers as wristwatches. If Google manages to denerdify the glass, we'll be wearing them as glasses. So nowadays, we are much more surrounded by those computer powers, those bits and pieces that do things, Fitbits. We have them with us all the time. And of course, look at these business people. They're so enlightened, they're so liberated. They're walking around with their iPhones and can do everything. Really, the reality is that they can't and they don't. Yeah, sure, we now have an iPhone that we carry around. The BlackBerry brought email to mobile devices. A VPN allowed us to work from home so that we no longer had to binge on email. But really, we've not changed, despite carrying that computer power around, we've not really changed the way that we work. We're still using the tools that were invented when we started to look at that picture of the desktop. So I just want to do something with you. If you have a phone on you, and I have, but mine's switched off, because otherwise it interferes. So if you have a phone, just do something with it. Go on Twitter, take a photo of yourself. If you want to do one of these Oscar style with all the celebrities, we can do that too. Take a photo of the screen, take a photo of anything, and just tweet it. That means, if you've done that, at the end of this keynote, I'll be able to go off, and I know who's tweeted this. I know who's shared this information with me. But think just a couple of years back. How would you have to do something similar to that? Well, take your camera out, take a photo, take several, because you're not sure, you can't see the picture immediately because you have to get it developed. Then you have to take it to your office, you have to scan it, and then you have to put it somehow on a server, get in touch with everyone in the audience, give them access to that server, you probably send them an email to say, here's the picture. So the way you do these things right now, it's changed tremendously. What was difficult before is very easy now in our personal life. When it comes to enterprise, a lot of times we're still holding on to these old tools that were invented for the time when the desktop was on the desktop. Email. So really where you want to get to is that cloud in the top right-hand corner. You want to change the way of working. You want to change the way of working that's more profitable, that's more efficient, and that's easily accessible, pervasive. Yet where we spend the majority of our time is in the bottom left-hand corner, with email, with IM. We've not reimagined the way that we can actually work. So maybe you're an organization that okay, you want to save some costs. You want to move some of these things to the cloud, and then you move vertically upwards. It's brilliant. It's exactly the same tools for the users. They won't even ever know that something's different. But now it's in the cloud, upgrades get an awful lot easier, and you get save some money. Or maybe you're an organization that woke up one day, you know you can move to the cloud, but you had this realization that there are some competitors that are doing things easier. They are more innovative. They are not hampered by any baggage, any legacy applications, and they are overtaking you. Think Blockbuster and what Netflix did to Blockbuster. So in that case, you're probably changing some of the tools that you have, but you're not really getting all the benefit. And the reason why, it's really hard. It's hard to do both of these things at the same time. Because although the technology is mature, the technology exists, the way that you actually change the working in your organization, you need help with that. This is completely different. This is change management. You need help figuring out what to change. You need help building your business case. You need some methodology. You need a company to come and help you with that and do it. Or on the other side, if you're moving more across to the horizontal, yeah, okay, so cloud companies have been talking to you about how the data that you put in the cloud systems is secure. No one can break into the data center. Yet topics like data encryption, record retention, e-discovery, and all these things, they've not really been addressed as clearly and nicely. Okta, for example, if you're familiar with them, is a cloud-based identity provider, cloud-based SSO. That's a step in the direction of actually bringing this technology all together. So, but the future is not really optional. You have people coming into the workforce that are used to tweeting pictures, that are used to a very efficient way of working. You can't optimize the processes by just automating more. You're running out of that. And you need to be, you're running behind. You're forever behind. You're forever trying to catch up. So what you really need is a social platform, communication and collaboration platform, because you need to collaborate internally or you need to do it externally, with customers, with partners. So a social network you're familiar with. A social network has a number of different aspects. It's probably got an inbox where you get some messages. Maybe you can even bring your email there. It will have things like connections, relations that you have with people around content, around communities, collaboration spaces. It will have things like streams, activity streams. We've heard it a couple of times. An activity stream. Information just magically streams in there. It's great. You can do everything from within that activity stream. You'll be able to very quickly and easily share information with others. You'll be able to find expertise, and in order to do that, you need to have a directory that's up to date. So think about an organization established as long ago as 1863. Swiss Re, they're a reinsurance organization. What they found is they were getting too siloed. They had evolved to be very efficient, but only in silos, only in individuals. And what they really needed is to be able to connect the people together. They found that by doing that, they could work an awful lot more efficient, they could reduce travel costs, they could decommission some of their systems and have tremendous savings in money there as well. That's a little bit on the internal side. What about external? What about the sell to communities? What do you do there? Well, you probably want to give them some support for the products that you provide, because irrespective of how good it is, people will want to ask questions. And if every support call costs you money, how about if you can actually get the customers to answer their own questions? How about if you add an aspect of social, of reviewing, of feedback to the e-commerce side that you provide? You've all seen it on Amazon. You go and buy the CD, but before you do it, or you go and buy the product, because Amazon now is an awful lot more than just CDs. Before you buy the product, you read the reviews to figure out whether it's any good. Or how about innovation? Who are the best people to know what you should change about your product to make it even more appealing? It's your customers themselves. They can give you that feedback, and that's exactly what Metaswitch did. They provide an external community, an external platform of knowledge and information where people can go, ask one another questions, answer each other's questions, but also where the organization can harvest the ideas on innovation, on how to develop their products. Or what about the sell with communities, the partner communities? How do you make sure that people that come in there that are not your own workforce, that they are still onboarded, that they are enabled, that they are effectively the salespeople for you? How do you make sure that that happens? SAP did that. SAP used Jive in order to run both internal as well as external communities, but it had tremendous benefits from that. They found that their network produced a 15% reduction in their product release cycle, and that their partners, that 2.5 million partners, could sell 5% more. That's a massive, massive increase that they got from it. But really what we found is that when you're looking at deploying technology like this, you need to find a use case. You need to find something that has context, something that will deliver you business value, be that in money, be it in time, or a combination of both. And actually what we did is we worked with a top 3 consulting organization. I can't talk about who it is, but it's a top 3, so they're really good. That did that. They went out to Jive's customers and they said, well, okay, now that you're using a platform, where do you get benefits? And some of these benefits are extremely generic. 15% improvement in workforce productivity, adding 2 to 4% to the bottom line. But really, if you're looking at how and where to deploy a platform like this, you're looking at functions and departments like sales. How can you make your salespeople sell more? Or at marketing, when you put on an event like this, how do you get all the people working together and do that faster and more efficient in order to have a great event? Or if you're providing a support community, how can you drive down that cost of support? If you can prevent people from calling you, because every call you take actually costs money, if you get them to answer their own questions, there's some big benefit in that as well. So these are some of those. Okay, great, take all that. Do I need to do it now? Yeah, you need to do it right now. Absolutely. Is it like when you go to the doctor, you have a problem? Can I get heart surgery 6 months from now? Well, no, probably not. If you need heart surgery, you need to do it now. Business is not slowing down. Technology is mature, has been proven. You see the wide variety of offerings of social collaboration and communication here today. The value has been proven. And from the Gartner hype cycle, you see we're coming out of that trough, and enlightenment and productivity is at the horizon. So start now. But where to start? I can help you with that. We can help you with that. We have a number of resources that you can tap into directly. We have a community, community.jivesoftware.com. You can register there. You can register free of charge. You can get information, insight reports. You can talk to peers, people that have done this before, and ask questions, how to do it. What's the good way to go about it, and what's the less brilliant way to go about it, the pitfall that I can avoid. But we also put together a blueprint of how and where to deploy technology for specific use cases. We've got 32 of those. If you've tweeted me already, or if you give me your business card, I'll make sure that you get a copy. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much. I hope you found it interesting and like to know more about Jive. I have a stand right over there. Thank you.
Thank you, Wim. Wim, just come over. Let's have a seat. And so, what's the bigger driver of social? Is it the technology innovation or the business orientation?
Yeah, it's a very interesting mix between those two. You can't have one without the other. You need to have a mixture of both. In order to do your work nowadays, there are a number of different applications and systems that you use. You're forever switching between them in order to try and get that job done. Whereas what you can do with a platform like this, it's more an availability of capabilities. You can either go to the social platform and then bring in the external information and systems in there, or, and that really promotes adoption, is you actually have the capabilities and they're surfaced wherever it is as an individual that you'd like to work. Be that on your mobile, be it in Outlook, be it in a web browser. And it's through that combination that you get some real productivity gains.
Okay, so, but is mobile and cloud and the acceptance of mobile and cloud and the adoption to it driving social at the moment? So.
I think we're seeing from a lot of the consumer applications that the shift is really happening to mobile. It's in this year, 2014, mobile data consumption will overtake the consumption of tethered devices. In 2010, mobile device sales surpassed other device sales. So yeah, because as users in our own personal life, we're expecting an awful lot more, and certainly with a new workforce, they have that expectation when they come to the organization. PwC adopted Jive. One of the reasons was PwC is a great consulting organization. They attract the brightest and the best people, but if you have to tell these people that just come out of university and that are very au fait with tweeting pictures and what have you, if you have to tell them this is a database and this is how you query a database through some SQL, then they're not going to accept that.
Well, I think there's still a step in between. So you can already use maybe social collaboration tools internally and have a platform installed, but not really having the mobile experience of mobile collaboration. And for me, it's a question whether the growth of mobile, also in the personal and private use, is also driving the social internally in the companies, because people now want to be mobile, want to work mobile, and therefore need those social tools as also
absolutely,
on the mobile.
You're always connected, and it also enables you to reach into a whole host of use cases that previously were completely unheard of, something you couldn't think about. The discussion that we had this morning about mobile and social there, with also appearing on the assembly line for exception handling, that's something that before you wouldn't have been able to do.
So is this already in use? So really at the assembling line that they have mobile tools and using Jive? So what are the challenges for those mobile use of social collaboration tools? So because if I look at the collaboration platforms and the interfaces, well, they are really complex. And in the mobile world, you have to reduce everything. So what do you reduce, and what's also your approach to it?
What's really important when you look at that mobile application for a platform like this is that you make it very targeted, because you're absolutely right. When you look at social platforms, there's a tremendous amount of functionality that's in there, but when you're a mobile worker, you may be just interested in just this little bit of it. So be able to create very, very purpose-driven, very task-focused mobile apps. That is where really you get then the benefits. But in order to do that, you need to be able that the platform that you have is open, that it can be integrated with, that you can build applications around it that combine some of those social features with perhaps other information and systems that sit in your enterprise.
So the requirements for those mobile adoption of social is really much the integrative part on the one hand and the business orientation, what you're saying?
Yeah. You can't. This is not technology for technology's sake. There needs to be a very clear reason to use, because otherwise you're not going to get adoption. No one's going to. If it doesn't solve a problem for a user, why would they?
But overall industries, would you say people or my collaborators out there, my working staff, is already ready for mobile use of social? Because, well, we're talking a lot about social adoption and getting the people to really work with it. It's already an effort to get them in the desktop environment to work with it. But on the mobile, isn't this even a more effort to get them on there and to use mobile, or is it easier on the
It depends a little bit on what the demographic is, I think, that you're looking at. A younger generation will find more affinity with technology and tools like this. But this is not a question of just build the technology, throw it out there, and it'll work. It is not a viral adoption. So aspects like community management and the gamification aspect that give people a reason to change their behavior, give people a reason to do something in a specific way that will eventually then drive that business value that you're looking for. Those are all aspects that need to be thought of when you deploy a platform like this.
So you're addressing the gamification aspect. So this is not really where we incentivize people to use the tool because they get some credits and so on.
Yep.
So, but this is normally in the desktop environment we don't use. Well, it's used now, but it's more used when we think about checking in at some places this. This is more the use case. So is mobile also driving the gamification aspects in social?
I think if you look at the consumer applications in mobile, gamification is a big aspect of it. It's not just games. I use Waze myself. It's a social routing tool in the sat nav. It has a gamification aspect. If I drive more, I get more points, and then I get higher status. So yeah, people are typically they're enticed by that. They're motivated by things like that.
So if we think about the future of also the technology, well, we know there's a lot of aspects we have to discuss about social adoption and all the cultural change, yes, but also focusing on the technology future. Where do we go to in the future? So we've seen we develop the collaborative tools and platforms for the desktop. Now we're going mobile. We're having cloud solutions, certainly, where we store the data so we can use it everywhere. But are there any more visions of the future of
What's
this?
next, right? Yeah. I think the social collaboration and communication arena in itself, it has a couple of challenges. One of those, I think, is the area of standardization. The same thing that SMTP did for email to make it a no-brainer. Now you had a standard to which to work, and you knew that if you sent it from one system, it would be received by the other system, no problem. I think that standardization through open social, through some of the emerging standards, is going to be a big part of this. Technology will continue to evolve. I think it will become more a set of building blocks that you can pick and choose the elements that most suit the use case that you're looking to implement within an organization, so that you can at some point take the blogging capability of one tool and combine it with the video capabilities of another tool, say.
Great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
A big applause for Wim Stoop from Just Software.